How's it going, everybody? This is the Stimulus Check Hub here to give you your daily stimulus check and unemployment benefits updates and the latest information. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube, which is what I try to provide here on this channel.
We've been hearing over the past few weeks regarding the child tax credit payments, regarding student loan forgiveness, and really any additional relief, because right now what we're seeing is Democrats have had enough. Democrats are getting tired of Senator Joe Manchin dictating what is going to go into a bill and what isn't. They're tired of hearing about gas prices continuing to go up, but nobody's doing anything about it. And they also don't want to wait until 2023 to see bills finally pass, because we currently have a 50-50 Senate. But really, what is their plan? What are they going to do moving forward? Well, this is where things get very interesting. And I do research every single day to figure out what is going on, to figure out what are people saying? What is the plan moving forward? How is this going to impact us financially? Okay? And so one of the things I can tell you is right now, Democrats want to do something, they just don't know exactly how to get there. Okay? And because of this, because of all the movement going on, the discussions being had pretty much behind the scenes, senior Democrats say that we need to pass something. And they want to pass President Biden's Build Back Better Act, or economic agenda, or building a better America, whatever you want to call it. But they do not want to risk higher inflation, because if there's any higher inflation than even what we're seeing now, and even what we're seeing today is considered very high. But if we continue to go up and it gets closer and closer to the midterm election, and we do not see inflation come back down to a more manageable level, Democrats believe they will completely lose the House and the Senate. And if this happens, and President Biden addressed this just 2 weeks ago, that the only move he has is to pull out his veto pen. That is it. That's all he'll be able to do, because Republicans would control the House and the Senate. They'd pass their bills, send it over to President Biden, and President Biden would have to either sign it and accept it and turn it into law, or he would veto the bill. That would be very difficult if he vetoes every single bill that Republicans send to him, because guess what? Republicans would just keep sending in bills, and come time for the election in 2024, it would be very tough for a Democratic president who just vetoed everything that was sent to him. It would be very difficult to see that person win. All right? So that's what is causing a lot of these issues at this time. But here's what we do know. Even though senior Democrats don't want to cause any additional inflation, they are attempting to find a group of provisions that could pass through a budget reconciliation. Now, here's the reason why this is a problem. And right now, there's only a couple provisions that would do that. But the problem is that Democratic leaders don't want to move on a budget reconciliation unless there's more to President Biden's economic agenda that will be included. Passing something with just one provision is not going to work. Passing something with the child tax credit payments, not going to happen. Passing something to lower gas prices, probably not going to happen. So where are lawmakers right now? And when are they going to come to an agreement on something? Okay? Here's the reason why I want to bring this up. And first, let's talk about this, because right now, what we are seeing is that there's not going to be an agreement on something soon. We're not going to see relief tomorrow. It's not coming in a week. It's not coming in a month. The first thing that lawmakers are looking at is inflation. And currently, the Federal Reserve is raising rates. But here's the expectation. The expectation is that inflation, if it doesn't go down over the next 2 to 3 months, and some say it will not go down next month, and chances are if this war with Russia and Ukraine continues, we will not see it come down for probably 3 months. Well, if inflation doesn't come down in the next 2 to 3 months, then according to Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve, he made it very clear that there will have to be drastic changes, which would mean they would have to really increase interest rates, and this would most likely push the U.S. into a recession. Now, because of this worry, lawmakers are not going to be pushing to pass President Biden's Build Back Better Act or economic agenda until potentially after this, until after we get some clarification as to what is going on with inflation. Once we see disinflation, it comes down. But also keep in mind that many Democrats believe that the Biden economic agenda would help lower inflation and provide relief for the American people. And the reason why this is so important is because economists don't believe this. Many economists believe almost the exact opposite and believe that providing relief wouldn't ease inflation worries, it would actually increase them, which is exactly what Senator Joe Manchin has been worried about for the past 8 to 10 months. So, here's what is currently being discussed. And coming up with a solution to a bipartisan bill would be the ideal solution. And so the first thing that they want to do, first thing that Democrats want to do, or one of the top things, is to get the child tax credit payments back. Because there's bipartisan support here. Senator Mitt Romney was the one that proposed, was it the $3,600 or $4,000 child tax credit payments, or $4,200, whatever it was, right? So there's bipartisan support here. And getting children the funding that they need to put food in their mouths, keep clothes on their back, and give them the ability to get to and from school, this is seen as a key provision. But this would also likely cause additional inflation. So how do we combat this? And that's what lawmakers are currently looking into. The next thing is climate. And this has bipartisan support. This has had bipartisan support for some time. But Democrats really worry, and they won't pass this bill just as climate alone, because this would actually take away their leverage from getting other provisions passed as well. Because if you put climate, which has bipartisan support, with another provision that doesn't have bipartisan support, even if it's a small one, for instance, like universal pre-K or paid family medical leave, or even the child tax credit payments, right? You put something like that with climate, and now lawmakers are like, well, I don't really support paid family medical leave for 4 to 8 weeks, but I really want this climate provision to pass, so I vote yes. That's what we're going to get, and that's what we always get. Another thing that Democrats are looking into is student debt forgiveness. And I want to touch on this, and I want to spend the majority of time on this one because this is key. Right now we have until May 1st, okay? And we are seeing lawmakers getting a lot of press about this because, again, we have until May 1st because on May 1st, that's when the payment pause expires. So what would happen is all these people that have student debt are going to have to start making these payments again. And when some are saying that the average debt payment per month is $460, that's a substantial payment. That's a car payment to most people. But that is why the White House is said to believe, okay? What we are seeing right now is the White House believes that we are going to extend the payment pause. It's going to extend for another couple months. That's likely going to happen. The hope would be that this would take the payment pause right into the student debt forgiveness program, which would mean that the $1.75 trillion in student debt would likely get reduced. But also keep in mind that the Biden administration has canceled billions of dollars already in student debt. But again, the total amount is peanuts the total amount forgiven already is peanuts compared to the $1.75 trillion in total debt. All right? But here's the good news. The good news is that according to the White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain, just a few weeks ago, he stated that the White House will have a decision on student debt forgiveness before the payment pause expiration date. That's, again, May 1st. So we're getting closer, right? We're like a month and a half away from seeing some form of relief, we'll have answers, right? So this is pretty big. This is good news. But experts believe that this would help millions of Americans. If we see that the average person pays, let's say, $400 to $460 per month in student debt, okay, for these payments, well, if they get this debt forgiven, that means they have an additional $400 to $450 every single month that they can use on other things. And other things like rising gas prices, pay for their rent increases, or pay more money for food and clothing and really everything else. But that's what's so interesting about what's going on right now is lawmakers are looking at ways to provide additional relief, but they're not looking at a stimulus check like what we saw over the past couple years. That is not in the discussions. The discussions are, let's provide tax credits and breaks, and let's provide some incentives to go back to work. Let's get children into school earlier so parents don't have to pay for childcare, can go back to work, and everything turns out even better.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube. Have a good one.